I will bring a French perspective, or I will try to. First, just one thing. I think regarding what has been said before, I think spies and secret agents are to keep things secrets, and journalists are to bring things into the open. So, of course, there are some limitations, and I mean not limitations, but there are things that you take into account, as Michael said. But we come from two different perspectives, so this is something basic. Regarding France, French these days debate a lot of things: taxes, immigration, school system, shale gas, whatever. National security is not one of them. There is a consensus in France. We don't have many consensus, but this one is fairly strong, and we have seen it at Le Monde every time we have published. Because Le Monde has a tradition of questioning foreign policy and security policy, including intelligence issues. And every time we've encountered very skeptical readers who think that the government's job is to protect them. And, sometimes they are ready to be fairly tolerant in thinking that the end justifies the means. So we are not, being too demagogic in this. We have a skeptical and difficult readership in that respect. But for instance, Le Monde, quite a long time ago, exposed the Rainbow Warrior affair, attack. And also we had another incident when President Mitterrand ordered the phone tapping of our investigative journalists, and this seems to have become a pattern because 2 years ago we decided to sue the government because when we found out that in an investigation, a journalistic investigation about what we call the Betancourt story. This was a financing, illegal, suspicion of illegal financing. We found out that two of our journalists, that the government, in fact, President Sarkozy had ordered the intelligence services to seize the phone records, not to listen to their phone conversation, but to seize their phone records of two journalists of Le Monde who were working on this story. So we decided to sue the government, and the trial is happening right now. But already, as a consequences of one of the first consequences of this incident being exposed was that the head of the intelligence service resigned. Then we had we were part of the group of newspapers who published WikiLeaks, the diplomatic cables, the American diplomatic cables with the Guardian and the New York Times and Der Spiegel and El País, and we found, I was the editor-in-chief at that time, and I remember the letters from the readers and the emails, and some of them were applauding us and saying, this is good. Of course, it was fascinating reading, so it was very good quality reading, I must say. But also they thought that as a principle, it was right to do this. And the other view, which was quite strongly expressed by our readers, was you shouldn't do this. The state has its secrets and it has the right to have its secrets, and you shouldn't be exposing them. Then we published the documents called Offshore leaks about financial fraud, and finally we have published a part of the Snowden of the NSA documents regarding France. I have to say that we haven't been faced with the same situation as The Guardian. We haven't been criticized by the government. There has been no interference at all from our government after we published this, but of course it's not the same size as what The Guardian said. And it hasn't been really... I can't say that there has been a strong reaction in France. It hasn't been a huge issue as in Germany because the situation is different. Somebody asked me, of course we haven't had documents yet, or we haven't had documents saying that the NSA was listening to President Hollande's phone, but even if we found out, I don't think there would be an outrage about this. Of course, we have a different history from than the German history, but I think there is coming back to this consensus, this French consensus. There's also our history with terrorism. We had terrorist attacks well before 9/11, and our security services have been extremely fighting this quite forcefully, and the French public has been quite tolerant, I must say, at some limitations of individual liberties for the sake of protecting them from terrorism. So this is for the background. I have been surprised, I must say, at the level of attacks against The Guardian. But this is also a very British situation. We don't have tabloids in France. We don't have this kind of aggressivity between newspapers. In Germany, I don't think there is really a debate. I think there is also a very strong consensus. But it's different from the French. It's at the opposite of the side of the French consensus. I was talking to a German colleague this morning, and he said that it is extremely difficult at the moment in Germany to be heard if you are not part of this national outrage about what the Americans have been doing in terms of surveillance of Germany, of massive surveillance of Germany. Now, was it worth it to expose all this and to publish all these documents leaked by Edward Snowden? Of course, yes. I have not a single hesitation about this, and I must say when Alan Rusbridger, whom I've been working with during the WikiLeaks publications, called me and asked me, as he did to many editors or former editors, to support him, I didn't have a single second of hesitation. I wrote that couple of paragraphs very easily to support the Guardian's decision to publish those documents. Why? Well, first, in terms of consequences, I remember when we published the WikiLeaks cables, we were also told that we were putting lives in danger, that there would be terrible consequences. I don't think there have been. I mean, a couple of American ambassadors have been called back. I don't think this is too dramatic. But I haven't heard of people being killed or disappeared or executed because of the WikiLeaks cable. So maybe some sources were lost. But, again, I think it was worth it. And again, it was worth it for the NSA document. Because what have we learned? It's not so much the spying, it's the data collection, and I agree with what has been said about this. It's the scale of these big data collections without any democratic control, without any information, is just mind-boggling, and it had to be exposed. And the consequences are already extremely strong. I mean, these are very serious consequences for the United States. People have taken the measure of the unchecked power of intelligence gathering, and this is healthy. I think it is healthy that people are aware of it, and that there will be debates in America, there's already a debate and strong debate. It also has a lot of quite strong consequences for, that's on the business side, for the American internet companies. This whole affair is raising a lot of questions about the governance of the internet, about who controls the internet, and we are all happy users, of course, of this extraordinary, innovative companies. But there is a structure, a world structure of this, of how internet is managed and controlled, which is not healthy, I think. When you learn that AT&T has collected 10 million. Okay, please, yeah, I'm finishing. $10 million a year to give phone records to the American administration, I think there is something wrong there, and that the question has to be raised. So now we have a situation, and I will finish with this, where Brazil is trying to relocalize its data. There's a bill being discussed in Brazilian parliament at the moment. This is a worrisome development. Deutsche Telekom is wondering whether they should create their own internet, a national internet. Well, the fact that all these questions are being raised is in itself healthy, and it justifies the publication, I think.